The Game Awards, created by our Mountain Dew Overlord, just made a boo-boo. The award, known for stirring controversy among people who worry more about defending which home appliance is better, instead of playing the games they supposedly love, nominated Dave the Diver as one of 2023's best independent games. In case you don't know, Dave the Diver was made by Mint Rocket, a sub-brand and division of Nexon. If that name sounds familiar, it's because you know about one of the biggest video game publishers in Asia, a company that has more than 1 billion, yes, you heard that right, 1 billion registered players across its main IPs. Their most popular game, Dungeon & Fighter, is a multiplayer beat-em-up that has registered an estimated lifetime revenue of about $22 billion, making it the highest grossing video game of all time. This IP is so popular in Asia that a couple of years ago it even got turned into a fighting game by Arc System Works, developers of games such as the Guilty Gear series and Dragon Ball FighterZ. You get where I'm going with this, right? Yes, Mint Rocket is not a huge studio in and of itself, but is backed by one of the world's biggest publishers, which make their games everything but independent. It would be like saying that because Insomniac Games is one of Sony's subsidiaries, Spider-Man 2 could also be considered an independent game. Some people defended the nomination via logical fallacies like, oh, but indie games are more about a look or a feeling than about who backs them, which is an extremely ethereal way to put it. Look at all these games and the other trillion indie games released every year and tell me exactly what it is that they all have in common in terms of style. I'll save you some time. The answer is nothing. That whole feel thing is so intangible that it's impossible to make a real argument out of it. The worst part is that games are not nominated to the Game Awards via public polls, units sold, or active player count, but by a jury of influential outlets chosen by the organization, making the decision even more baffling because either most of these gaming journalists actually didn't know that Dave the Diver is by no standards an indie game, which is extremely unlikely, or they opted to nominate it over actual indie games that deserve the opportunity to be recognized by the organization, like Pizza Tower, which only got nominated to this participation trophy category. Although maybe it's a blessing in disguise, because this way people won't try to bring back this year's least funny meme. Don't get me wrong, these nominations are all over the place. Baldur's Gate was developed and distributed by an independent studio but was not nominated in that category, Destiny 2 was nominated for Best Community Support, and Gran Turismo was nominated for Best Adaptation, making it obvious that a bunch of nominations exist just to fill some sort of quota. Remember, these events exist mainly for the purpose of increasing sales within the industry, which is why they are always celebrated right before Christmas. So, as with anything gaming related, maybe it's best not to put much thought into it, because at the end of the day, it will most likely be justified by someone trying to be funny on Twitter. And there it is.